Hey Binance, Orlando here. Thank you for tuning into episode 18 today of Binance Beach. Really looking forward to this episode. We're going over and talking with our crypto guardian here in Down Under, our Binance Angel, Damo. So really looking forward to that conversation. It should be a great one. We're talking about how he got involved as a volunteer here at Binance, and then also how Binance Australia has changed and grown over the years. He's been with us for a very long time. So it'd be some great insights there. And then also how to get involved a little bit more in the community and making an impact, especially for the newer guys. Speaking of newer guys, I obviously am a new face. So my name's Orlando, and I'll be taking over for Liam this week and next week as well, as he gets some well-deserved rest. He's been working very hard, bringing these episodes and more to all you guys. So I'm happy to step in here just for a minute. Just a little bit of a background on myself. I've been in the crypto industry for about 4 years now. I've done some startup work. I've done some VC stuff as well, and really excited to be with the Binance team here in Australia at the moment. Been an awesome time so far, but enough about me. Really looking forward to this episode. So without further ado, let's get into the market update. So we'll start off with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has been on an absolute tear this week, running all the way up to 73,200 US dollars. So just touching on the top there of our all-time high, almost breaking through to that number. Been a very exciting week. Just having a quick little pullback now and back at the $70,500 mark. Now for our alts, things aren't looking necessarily as hot as Bitcoin at the moment. Ethereum is actually down a touch on the weekly. BNB down a touch as well. Solana down almost 5%, and XRP the same. Dogecoin has shot up about 13% on the week, and a couple others there ranging as well. Not too much there. So we can jump into the actual episode, the rest of it now with Damo. So today we're joined by Damo, one of our longtime Binance Angels here in Australia, for a deep dive into what you can expect, being a Binance Angel, also going and being with the community, and some of his long-term experience here with us in Australia. Damo, how are you doing today, mate?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good. It's been a busy day as always. So, Damo, please tell me how you're feeling about the market at the moment, especially in the last week.
Yeah, well, given the last week, I don't think you can feel anything but bullish at the moment, I guess. But things could change in an instant.
Not wrong at all, Damo. It's been an exciting week for sure. We've seen some nice ups, and let's hope that continues for sure. So, Damo, today we're going to be talking initially a bit about your experiences as a Binance Angel. So, did you want to just give us a brief overview of how you got into the Binance in the time as a Binance Angel? And for the uninitiated, Binance Angels are our volunteer program. They're very passionate crypto users who have been helping us push the Binance mission of, keeping up with the freedom of money. So, Damo, could you please give us a bit of a background?
Yeah, well, I'll take a step back about how I got into crypto. I guess that leads into Binance. It was in 2017. I received a DM on my socials from someone I went to university with, saying I should get into crypto. Of course, I was pretty sus on that. We spoke semi-frequently, but this was a totally different topic and out of the blue. I actually thought he'd been hacked originally. So over the course of a few days, I mixed some questions about what he was talking about with some stuff that only he and I would probably know. Turns out it was true. And yeah, it was legit. And then in a few days later, he actually started talking about Binance specifically, and that's when I started using the platform. And then not long after that, applied to become an angel.
Amazing, and we've been very fortunate to have you, Damo. You've done some great work. So you've obviously been with us for a very long time. 2017 is when you just said you applied. So in the early days of Binance Australia, how have you seen us grow in the region?
Yeah, well, it was really interesting to start with because I submitted my video, and it was someone in Europe, I think, was the person that interviewed me. And initially, I wasn't the only angel in Australia. I was the only one in the Southern Hemisphere, so I was actually on the opposite side of
Wow.
the world to everybody. Um, so initially, it was just sort of manning their socials, answering questions when everyone else was asleep. Um, and it wasn't very well known back then in 2017. So it was mostly heavily education from a lower base. There was also less projects and less things around at the time. So it has evolved to be a much larger piece than it was back then, for sure.
Definitely has evolved since just the Bitcoin and ICO Ethereum days. So
Yes.
yeah, would have been a wild ride for sure. Speaking of wild rides, I'm definitely sure you've had some ups. So what were some of your highlights along the way? Could you share a story or any experience there?
Yeah, certainly the very first meetup for Binance Australia was definitely a highlight. Until that point, I'd lived a pretty solitary existence as an angel. Got to meet a lot more of the international angels because it was the first meetup. So we did some prep work to see what to expect. Um, I actually used a platform that was available at the time where I got to use my B&B to pay for my flights and accommodation, which was a first real world use of what I was holding at the time. Um, and I met a lot of users, and the first thing I noticed at that meetup was the diversity of people and the diversity of interest in the crypto market.
That makes a lot of sense. You know, crypto is extremely global, so it's cool to have that aspect in Australia too, and always nice to be using crypto when you can, for sure. So I guess that's a good segue. You know, interacting with some of the wider Binance community to the next portion that I would love to talk about, and that was the community involvement and making an impact. So, community is, of course, a huge part of Binance's success. Huge. So, you're an active contributor to our community, especially in our Telegram. You do a lot of great work there. Thank you very much. So, what do you enjoy the most about helping others along their crypto journey?
Yeah, I think I touched on some of this previously in what I mentioned. But firstly, the diversity of people and their interests. I guess you've got people who are interested in trading and the financial aspect. There's people who are accumulating and saving NFTs for creative people. There's people trying to solve real world problems, and people interested in the technology. I really like hearing their story and their passions. Secondly, education. I mentioned that it was a big part early on. Obviously, it's constantly changing and evolving. So, and there's newcomers coming all the time. So, it, education doesn't stop. It just changes and becomes a bit different over time. Um, and Binance has a wealth of information available. So, if I'm in the Telegram community and someone has a question, it's really easy just to find the appropriate link to the information and give it to the person. And it's really rewarding when they come back and tell you that they've succeeded in what they were trying to do, or being very gracious in that they very happy that I've helped them out. Lastly, and unfortunately, in an ideal world, this one wouldn't be on the list, but and I touched on this. The very first thing I said was scam prevention.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate there's people in the space that are seeking to do harm. And I do spend a lot of time to make sure that the bots are in place. The things that I do with filtering people, people mentioning things in the chat to make sure that they're as safe as possible. So it is rewarding to do that, but it's the part that I wish I didn't have to do.
Understandable for sure. And that's, you know, why we're just so fortunate to have the Binance Angels and particularly yourself, Damo, doing such an incredible job across the board. Yeah, you've been a long time contributor, especially to the Telegram, and making sure that that is nice and tight. There's no one getting in there that shouldn't be. So we thank you for that. Absolutely, Damo. Um, yeah, so helping other people, interacting with other people, that's something that you are very well versed in. Do you have any memorable experiences or stories from any crypto events? So we've got the Oz Crypto Con coming up at the end of November. Did you want to share anything surrounding any of those type of events at all?
Yeah, so I went to the CryptoCon in Melbourne last year. I really enjoyed that event, and that was actually pretty memorable in itself because I met some people, or caught up with some people I hadn't seen for a long time, that I'd met through the journey. for me personally, one that was really interesting for me was NFT Fest a couple of years ago. It was a whole entire part of crypto that I'd really overlooked. I've obviously seen NFTs and heard about NFTs, and the people that spoke, they actually spoke about their insights were very different to anything I'd thought of before. So for me personally, that was very educational. I really enjoyed that. And of course, I'm heading up to CryptoCon this year, so in Sydney. So I'm really looking forward to going to that as well.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, excited to meet you there in person, Damo. It should be a very, very good event. Great weekend. Absolutely. So you've mentioned along the way here that you have been quite great at educating and helping users that aren't really sure of their footing yet here in the crypto industry. So did you have any advice to someone like me or anyone who's just getting started out in the crypto world
Yeah. I don't want to sound too old hat, talking about do your own research. But look, I wouldn't just leave it at that. I guess it is about getting in and speaking with people. Obviously, Oz CryptoCon, other meetups, the Telegram's a good opportunity to do that. Other socials, and hear their stories and hear their point of view. Everyone has a different point of view. Sometimes it's the polar opposite, someone else's, which is all part of the fun, I guess, in terms of filtering out your own opinion is. And do some searches, have a look at some of the stuff that Binance has available in terms of education. Once you start doing some searches, Google algorithm will start serving you with the content anyway. So you'll start seeing new stories and things like that. But yeah, it's definitely a mix of getting out and meeting people and searching and being curious yourself.
Absolutely. I think that's spot on. And no, don't worry, you're not an old hat for saying do your own research. I think that is truly great advice. We all should be keeping that in mind. Absolutely. So maybe kind of just a quick segue, similar question. But I was wondering how to make an impact in the community. So similar line of thinking, but maybe not so much on the educational side. So how can like us new guys, we've got a lot of energy, a lot of passion, come in and make that impact in the community, do you think?
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head there. The lot of energy and the outside perspective. You've obviously new people come to the area with a different perspective, a lot of skills that they've had before joining the crypto industry. So again, contributing, getting involved with things like the Australian Crypto Convention and meetups and things like that. Producing, obviously, you see a lot of people produce a lot of content online that are new. So there's lots of things that you can do, and to share your previous experience or experiences from a point of view of not being inside the crypto industry.
Absolutely. It's such a good point. Everyone has different perspectives, and you can always find a way to bring value and energy for sure to any given environment. Absolutely. And speaking of environments, like you said, Oz CryptoCon is coming up at the end of November. Make sure to grab tickets. I don't think there's too much left, actually, guys. So be sure to grab and purchase some of those so you can come and see Damo and myself at the Binance booth. We'd love to see you there. Cool, Damo. Thanks for your time there. I think that was all of the questions that we wanted to run through on your behalf. So I'll just pivot a little bit now to the Halloween campaign. So Halloween was yesterday. So happy Halloween. And I hope you didn't get too killed on the treat front by the little kitties, Damo. But yeah, we'll be announcing the winners of our Halloween campaign. So make sure you're keeping up with our X for that. And we'd also love to give a shout out to the Red versus Blue campaign that's ongoing. That'll finish up next Thursday night. Awesome, Damo. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure to have a Binance Angel on board. Yeah, make sure to check Damo out and all the hard work he does over on Telegram. Damo, thank you so much for coming on board today.
Yeah, thanks, Orlando. Thanks for having me. And yeah, good luck to everyone with the Halloween competition, and happy Halloween.
No worries, guys. Okay, we'll see you both, or we'll see you all at the ACC. You'll see both of us there.
See you there.
Catch up.
See you there.
Thanks for that, Damo. So just moving into a quick disclaimer here, please note that this discussion includes insights from non-affiliated third parties and key opinion leaders. Binance provides this platform for informational and educational purposes only, and it is not responsible for any content or insights provided. This information should not be considered as financial, tax, or investment advice from Binance. I'll see you next week, Binances. Thanks for having me. It's been an awesome episode. Appreciate your time. Have a great weekend.